All right, so we are going to begin by creating new project. So let's just search of Laravel. All right, so we can select this first option as usual. Just scroll down. So let's go to Laravel Bootcamp. Build Chifa with Blade in the installation. So let's just copy this. So we're going to create our project. So you have to go to your XAMPP folder in your computer. All right, so as you normally do, so here we have this. Then next, I will paste this. I will just paste, copy it. So the name of the project, we can give it this name, Pay Connect. Pay Connect. So make sure you have internet connection on your computer. All right. So just give it short period of time to create the project. All right, the project is created successfully. So let's cd into the project. So Pay Connect. So inside of that, we can be able to run our project. So let's copy this command as usual. Paste it. So we have this. So we have to copy the link and open it. All right. So it is running perfectly now. So let's run it. Yes, so we have our project created successfully. So after doing this, next thing to do is we need to install the Breeze authentication system. So let's scroll down. So we have Composer require Breeze. So copy this. So we can create another command prompt. If you are using Windows, you have to use command prompt, as I always explain to you. So paste it. So while you are installing using the composer, make sure you are connected to internet. This is going to make the work very easy and it's going to be very fast. Yes, so Breeze is installed. So the next thing is, let me minimize this step so we can see it. So you can see we have to install the blade, all the blade files, right? So come down this place, then you paste, then hit install. So this is going to install all the necessary things you need for this Breeze package, which is solely for the authentication system. You remember in this, we are going to create multi-authentication system where users are going to have different dashboard from the admin. So just give it short period of time. Therefore, it is going to be installed. Make sure that you are connected to internet. Yes, so Breeze is installed successfully. So after I do this, you can run npm run dev like this. All right, so now when we come back to this, you can see here we have our project installed, Laravel 11, everything. Then when you refresh, as a result of installing of the Breeze, so we have our login, then we also have the register form. All right, so here we are going to stop at this. In the next lecture, we'll continue from where we stop. See you in the next lecture. All right, so in this lecture, we are now going to set up the database. So here you can see this is showing us this, but what we need to do now is we need to change the database. So we have to make sure that you load the project in your text editor. All right, so here I'm using VS Code. So open the .env file. Then here we need to change this database to MySQL. Then we need to also add all these other configurations. So this is going to be, let's call it PayConnect. That's the name of the database. So let's copy this. But let me show you something when you go to the application. You can see it's showing error because the database PayConnect is not known. All right. So we need to open the localhost phpMyAdmin. So we can come to this new, then we can now paste the name of the database, PayConnect. So just click on create. So now we have this. So next is we need to do migration. But to do that, before we do the migration, let's make some changes in the migration file. So we'll go to database, you go to migrations, then you go to user. So in the user, we are going to have some few changes that we need to make here. All right. So let me just take it there so we can see it. So come to this place, paste it here. So we have a table, tiny integer role, then it's going to be default. So this is going to help us to have the multi-authentication system set up correctly. So any user with role of number 1 is going to be user. Then 2, if the role is 2, the value of the role column is 2, and that's going to be admin. So that's all for this. Then let's also create another model that is for the transaction. So when user make payment, so the transaction will be recorded in that transaction model. So to do that, what we need to do is we are going to open our terminal. So let's create the model. So PHP artisan make model. So call it transaction. So you can add that M. Yes, so we have our model created. So now let's check. You can see here we have this created for us. So we have to update this. So in this, first of all, we need to link the current user with the transaction. So to do that, we can come to this. Here we have foreign ID, user ID, then constraint on delete cascade. So this is going to link everything regarding the user to the transaction. All right. Then after that, we're also going to have another column inside the table. So this column is going to be amount. That means the amount the person deposited. All right. Then after that, we're also going to have status. Okay. So the status, that is the status by default, is going to be pending. That means the status of the transaction. So admin is going to be responsible for updating the status. So that's all about this. So next is we need to perform some migration. That means to migrate these tables. All right. So before we do the migration, let's make sure that we have completed everything here. So we have to open the models. So let's go to auth models users here. So here we have to also add role. All right. So after this, we are going to have role. So that's it. That's all the thing we need here. So now let's also check the transaction model. So in the transaction model, we don't have anything inside currently. So in there, we have to also add the key labels. All right. All right. So to do that, let's use the, you can see same things we have in this users, that is use factory. So let's copy it from here. It's not that much necessary, but let's make it complete. So we have this, all right. So as usual, we also have the use factory, all right, here. So let's just copy it from here also. So we use it here. So for semicolon at the end, all right. So after the use factory, then we also need to add the key labels. All right, so same things we have in the other one. So this is going to allow our information to be saved. So protected key label like this, all right. So we now mention the columns also. That is assets in our migration, user ID, amount, and status. So let's add them here. Okay. So we have key labels, user ID, amount, and status. All right. So next is we have to define relationship to the user model. All right. So a transaction belongs to a user. Each transaction belongs to a user. So to do that, what we need to do is we need to have the public function. We'll call it user. So inside this, we are now going to return. So we have to use this. So we are returning this. You can see this belong to user. That is our user model. So this shows that a transaction belong to a user. All right. So that is the essence of adding this relationship. All right. So now, lastly, we need to perform migration. Therefore, when we do that, we can be able to see our table generated. Here we don't have any table. And when we come back to this place, we refresh it. So you can see we still don't have the table. All right. We have the database. So let's do the migration. Okay. So to do that, you open your command prompt as it was before. So you just type php artisan migrate, then hit enter. So this is going to generate all the tables and the migrations for us, which is going to be very cool. Yes, that's cool. So now we are here. Let's try to refresh this page connect. Let's refresh this page. So this is database page connect. You have all our migrations. So let's open the users. In the users, we have structure. This is the user with the role and everything. All right, so this tiny, we put tiny to be default for. So we can change the default. All right, it's not necessary here. So the default, we put it to be 1, but we can have other ones to be 4. Okay, the tiny integer, right? So now after this, we have the other table, which is transaction. So the transaction also, that's user ID, which is connected to our user, then amount, then also the status, which is by default, which is going to be pending. So now let's come to this place and refresh this. Yes, you can see we are able to have our registrar page loading because the database is set successfully. So here we have come to the end of this lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to continue from there. Do not forget to leave a very sweet review for this lecture. Thank you. In this lecture, we are going to start working on the multi-authentication system, right? So now let's create some folders, right, for this particular setup. Okay, so these folders are going to be the user and admin folders. So let's go to resources. All right, so in the resources here we have views, and inside the views we are going to create a folder for admin. Let's also create another folder inside, which is going to be, we can call it user. All right, yes, that's cool. So inside these two folders we are going to have files inside. All right, so for the admin, we'll just right click new file, then we'll call it dashboard. So it's going to be a blade file, to a blade.php. So this same file, let's quickly add a simple information on it. So this, we can call this to be admin dashboard. All right, so that's same things we're also going to appear. So you can copy this blade file and add it up inside the user also. So here, this is going to be user dashboard like this. So that is for the filing. So we are done with the views for now. So after doing this, next is we have to create middlewares. So to create the middlewares, we can use command to do that. Okay. So let's clear this. So this is going to be PHP artisan make middleware. All right. So the name of the middleware will start with the first one, which is admin. So let's do it like this. Admin. So we have middleware called admin. So let's create another one, which is user. So you can call it user. We have the middleware user and also middleware admin. So where do we see this? We go to app, then we come to HTTP, then we have the middleware. Then here we have the middleware for the admin, then we have for the user. So let's work on the admin on. All right. So for the admin, what we need to do is we have to first of all import auth. That's a package. So auth, then illuminate like this. Auth. So this should be capital letter like this. So we have to import this. So after doing this, then we can be able to check to see if user is logging or not. So here we have to come up here. So say if. So the condition we are giving there is auth check. All right. So I want to check to see if the user. We are checking the currently signed in user. All right. So we return, then we redirect. We are going to redirect person to a route which is login. So up to put semicolon at the end. So here we are checking if person is not logging, then it will redirect that person to login. All right. So that's for this. So next is we are going to create a variable to check the role of that particular user. Okay. So this is it here. User role. This is just a variable. Auth user role. So we're now getting the role, whatever is the role. So remember the role can be one or two as we specified earlier. So next we have to check to see the role. Okay. So to do that, we are going to use if statement. This is a simple PHP. So if user role is equal to 2, since this is admin, this is admin middleware. So if the user role is 2, then it will continue with the redirection to the admin dashboard. Otherwise, so we are now going to return and redirect somebody to the user dashboard. So you can see. So else if the user role is 1, then return redirect route to user dashboard. And we already created the view, which is user and dashboard here. All right. So that's all for this. So this same setup we have, that's the same test setup we are going to have for the user. We just have to change things around. So for the user, we have to also add the auth because we need it. Then after that, that same code structure we have. Let me copy this everything from here. So here we paste it. So we have if is if statement here. So if we also check, but this time around, we have to change the things to other way around. So if the user role is 1, that's for the user, then return redirect to the request, then it will change direct somebody to user dashboard. Else if the user role is 1, so this will be 2 because that's for the admin. So if the user role is 2, then return redirect to admin dashboard like this. All right, so that's all about this. So we are now done with this. So that is all. We can now close this. Next is we have to register the middlewares. To register them, we have to go to Bootstrap folder. So let me minimize everything. Go to Bootstrap, then app. So here you can see we're going to register our middlewares. So this is just going to be very cool and easy. So here we have to do this. So first of all, we create this middleware, that is this particular middleware here. So this same middleware say alias, then we're now giving the middleware's names. So that's admin, then admin class, then user, the name which is representing the user middleware. So this we need to import them into this particular place. So let's come up here. So we'll say use is inside our folder, then HTTP. And inside the HTTP we have another folder, middleware. Then after that we have admin like this. So that's for the admin middleware. So we can do that same with the user. So we just need to change the middleware to user because that is these are the names we have: app, HTTP, middleware, admin, and user. So that's all about this. So we have now registered the middleware successfully. So now let's close this. So next is we just need to check the routes. Okay. So I have to come to routes here. So in the route, we have to also create group routes for these users. So to do that, I'm just come down here. Let's say this particular place here. So we have route, then get. So since we are going to use middleware, so we don't need to use get. So we say middleware. So this is going to be group middleware, something like this. Okay. So there's auth. Then the second middleware for the user, we are just going to put user. So all the routes are going to be within this particular group. Okay. So that's for the user. Then for the admin, it's also the same thing. So let's just copy this. Then we'll now paste it here. So for the admin, we're also going to have admin like this. All right. So these are the alias name that we just created in the app folder that is here. Admin and user. All right. So we have user and admin. So the first route we are expecting to use, which is something that we have already added within the middleware, which is admin. You can see we have user dashboard. This is a route. So we did not yet create the route. Here also do not yet create the route. So we have to create those routes now. So to create the routes, what we have to do is we need to all right. So yeah, first we need to create the route for the admin, for the user admin. So let's do this. I have to minimize this test can. So you have to route then get user dashboard. So the moment it is open, we're going to get a controller which is going to be for showing the user's dashboard. So the name of the controller is going to be transaction controller. Then there's a method inside which is user transaction, which have the name of the dashboard, the name of the route, which is user dashboard. All right. So that's for this. So we also repeat same thing for the admin as well. So to do that, have to do it this way. So admin dashboard, then also transaction controller. So within the transaction controller, we have also the admin dashboard. So which is admin dashboard as the name. So we need to create this controller actually. So let's copy the name. So we are now going to our command prompt. So in this, you say PHP artisan make controller. So the name of the controller is going to be, and paste it here. Okay, transaction controller. Yes, so we have transaction controller created successfully. So now inside the transaction controller, we need to have these two methods, which is going to lead us to these URLs. So now let's work on that as well. So here in the transaction controller, we have to come, we already created just now. So let's check out controllers transaction controller. So inside this, we have to have the two functions that we created here. We have the user transaction and also all transactions. So all transaction is going for the admin. Therefore, admin can be able to be seeing all the transactions, while user transaction is going to the user dashboard. Therefore, user can see the transaction, can perform the transaction, also see his transactions. So inside that, we now have to do some things. Okay. So what we did here is you can see we have public function user transaction, then transaction, we have this transaction. All right. So this is going to be explained fully in the next lecture. But before then, we can do something like this. Therefore, we will not computes are safe. So here also, let me return it 2 times, therefore one is going to be commented. All right, so something like this. So there we don't need to compact anything actually. So I think this is going to be very easy to understand. So here also we don't need to compact anything. Okay, so for now these are just going to be showing us these pages. So that's very nice. All right, so that's all about this. So now if we go to the page, we load it, then let's create an account. So let's say at gmail.com like this. Then we have the password 1234567 Here also 123456789. Now click on register. So we can see this take us to the dashboard, which is which we are going to work on this. So I'll log out. Okay, then let's log in again. So the password the email is at gmail.com, and the password we use 123456789 like this. Then log in. So, but before we log in, let's go to the users table. You can see we have the user table here. The role, it came as 1. All right. So now let's log in. So it takes us to user. It took us to this. So when we do this, hit enter. So here we are having a problem. You can see user role next request. So we need to pick 1 or 2. Therefore, we do not have any problem. Okay, so let's check on that. All right, so to fix this problem is you can see target class transaction controller does not exist. So where we have the problem is we can check on the code. Okay, so here we use transaction controller. So this same controller also need to use it here also. We need to call it. So you can see our HTTP controllers, transaction controller. This need to be called. So when we do this, yes, we know that yes, our transaction controller is added. So now let's check the page again. Therefore, we can figure out. So you can see it automatically refresh. It shows user dashboard. So while we are having user dashboard as we logged in because the role is. So now let's update the role to 2. So now let's go back to the and refresh. You can see we are now redirected to admin dashboard because the role is 2. So that's all about this. Here we have come to the end of this lecture. See you in the next lecture.